Good morning, Year 4, and welcome to today's English lesson. So today we are finishing off our Mr. Men stories, but that is not all that we are going to do. Okay, what we're going to have a go at doing is looking back over the work that we've done already this week for our writing and editing it. Okay, so editing is a really important part of the writing process, and it means we try to eliminate and get rid of um, any errors that we've not picked up on when we've written it the first time round. Okay, and for actual writers, for professional writers, they go through this process quite a lot. Okay, and they don't just go through it once, they may go through it dozens of times. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I've got the Story Mountain Planner there. Hopefully, we should be towards the end of it. You may just be writing your ending today. And when you're writing your ending, remember, like we said earlier in the week, you're writing it so that it's the character hasn't really learnt from their lessons, that you're giving a teaser to the reader as to what might happen later on after the story's finished. Okay, so I've carried that on from Mr. Lazy. I'll move me out of the way. There he is. And this is how I've sort of began the ending of my ending, as it were. Eventually, Mr. Lazy managed to get to his driving test on time. Not before he stopped for a little snooze just outside his front door. Being lazy is such hard work, said Mr. Lazy, stretching his arms out wide. What are you playing at? Yelled little Miss Bozzy from across the road. You're going to be late for your test. Reluctantly, he rolled all the way to the test centre, for he couldn't be bothered walking. That sounded too much like hard work. So, what I've done is deliberately leave some errors in there. Okay? Because what I'm going to do now is show you how we would edit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another pen. So if you're doing this if you've done this in pencil or in black pen or blue pen, try and choose a different color if you've got one. If not, maybe like a felt tip or something like that will do. Okay, and I'll show you what I've done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through, I'm going to carefully read what I've actually written, not what I think I've written. There's a big difference. A lot of times when people read back what they've written, they read what they think they've written down. They don't actually read what they have written. So we're going to go back to the infants. We're going to get our finger out and we're going to read exactly what I've written. Sorry. Eventually, Mr. Lazy managed to get to his driving test on time. Ah, I can spot an error there. I've not got a full stop in. Okay, there's my first error. Maybe you want to pause the video, Year 4, and see if you can spot all the errors before I come through to them. Okay, let's see what we've got. Not before he stopped for a little snooze just outside his front door. I think that's okay. Being lazy is such hard work, said Mr. Lazy. Ah, I can spot one here. It's not a spelling error, it's not a word I've missed out, but you can see that I've got some inverted commas here, so I should have here a piece of punctuation because it's the end of that bit and I'm starting my reporting clause. So what I'm going to put in here is a comma. Okay, being lazy is such hard work, comma, inverted commas, said Mr. Lazy, stretching his arms out wide. Now, I'm pretty sure we put said into word jail a few days ago. So I think, what might be a good alternative to said? What might be a good synonym? Ah, I know. He's stretching his arms out. So what I'm going to do is put in yawned. Okay, being lazy is such hard work, yawned Mr. Lazy, stretching his arms out wide. What are you playing at? Yelled little Miss Bossy from across the road. Now, this one here is the start of a new line. Okay, it should be a new line because it's a new speaker. Okay, Mrs. Bossy speaking, little Miss Bossy speaking now. So we need to start that onto a new line. What are you playing at? Yelled little Miss Bossy from across the road. Can you spot the error here for? Can you spot the error in that line there? What are you playing at? Yelled little Miss Bossy from across the road. Well, we've started the inverted commas. Where's my mouse gone? We've started the inverted commas, but we haven't closed them. So I need to put a second inverted comma there. I've got my question mark, that's my punctuation, because she's asking a question. What are you playing at? Yelled little Miss Bossy from across the road. You're going to be late for your test. Now that's speech, that's what she said, but I've not punctuated it with inverted commas. So that's going to be the next one. Reluctantly, he rolled all the way to the test centre, for he couldn't be bothered walking. Now, the next one that I've missed out is a tricky one, and there is a clue earlier up as to what it might be. But what it is I've started with a fronted adverbial, okay? The fronted adverbials tell me how, where, or when things happen. Okay, so these, this one up here, eventually Mr. Lazy managed to get to his driving test on time. That's telling me when. Reluctantly, he rolled all the way to the test centre. That's telling me how he did it. Okay, and if I start with a fronted adverbial like I have up here, I need to have a comma after it. So I'm going to put reluctantly, he rolled all the way to the test centre, for he couldn't be bothered walking. Now you might notice I've sneaked in a for there instead of because, thinking back to our fanboys that we had earlier in the term, still using them. That sounded too much like hard work. But I'm going to go back and I'm going to read the words I've actually written, Year 4. That sounded too much like hard work. Can you spot the error? Ooh, it's only small. That sounded too much like hard work. When we're talking about too much, we've had enough. We need to use the two that has a double O because it's too much. So I'm going to put in the word two there, not two with one O, two with double O. Okay, and there we go. Okay, so perhaps you might want to advise me on another change I could make, another edit I could make to my writing. I think there's a couple in there to do with layout and presentation I might use, and to do with new lines and paragraphs. Maybe you can think, where should I be starting a new line? So today, Year 4, you are finishing writing your story. Okay, once you've done that, I want you to go back through all your writing since you've done since Tuesday and correct any errors that you may have that involve punctuation, spelling, or synonyms for said. Just those three, okay? And you know what, though? Whilst we're editing, you may think, actually, I've got a better idea than that now, and change it. That's absolutely fine, okay? You might think, oh, it's going to look a bit messy, but that's part of the writing process. It's not all just about getting to an end piece, which is all shiny and marvelous, okay? It's about improving our work all of the time. And remember, try to read what you've actually written, not what you think you have. There is a difference. Okay, sometimes you can trick your brain into thinking that the word's there and it's not. Okay, pay close attention to that. Okay, and that will be the end of our writing today. Okay, tomorrow, got a sneaky task up my sleeve. Right, Year 4. Hope you enjoy that, and I'll see you all soon.